The Detroit Pistons had to play last night's game without Kate Cunningham, but despite that, they played a really tough game and got some massive contributions from a few players. We'll talk about which players really stood out last night for the Detroit Pistons in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks.com and use promo code NBA or go to your app store and download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Per usual, I'm your host, Kook Cahill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kook Cahill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. 50% of you guys who are watching this on YouTube are not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's the best way to support the podcast. You're coming every day for the content. Might as well hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. But last night, the Pistons had a tough loss to the Miami Heat. And they played this game without Kate Cunningham. And I know before, if you tell some fans, you tell some people, the Pistons are playing this game, but Kate Cunningham's out. Everyone's probably like, okay, instant turn off. We're turning the game off. We don't want to watch it. We're just not going to watch it. There's no need to watch it. They're not going to be as interested in it. However, this was a close game throughout the entire night. And this is the first team in the East we're talking about. And the Pistons were playing without likely their best player. And they were leading for the majority of the night. They played extremely close throughout the night. And really, if it wasn't for Max Strus coming out of nowhere in the second half and dropping 16 points, like this dude didn't play the entire first half. I don't know if he's played recently for the Heat, but Jimmy Butler got hurt. He got thrown into the second half, and out of nowhere, he just looked like Steph Curry out there and went psychotic. If it wasn't for that, the Pistons might win this game. And it had a lot to do with three guys. And specifically one guy. We'll mention all three of them because all three of them did a great job. And that trio really sparked everything for the Pistons. But we're going to try to focus on one guy really. And that was the trio of Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, Marvin Bagley. Those three guys absolutely was a massive spark for the Detroit Pistons and really kept them in this game and kept them in front of this game when they were on the floor. Just look at these numbers real quick. The entire starting line for the Detroit Pistons, minus 10 and below. Or minus 10 and higher. Killian Hayes, plus 8. Isaiah Livers, plus 15. Marvin Bagley only was a plus 1. But there was a point in the third quarter where I believe the Pistons were up by just 2 points. Isaiah Livers was a plus 26 at that point. Killian Hayes was a plus 15. And Marvin Bagley was a plus 11. At that point in the third quarter. And listen, I loved what I saw from Killian Hayes. I would like to see him make a few more shots, but I really liked the fact that he was aggressive. He kept going for his shot. Finished the game with 9 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal. I liked what I saw from Killian. You guys know I like talking about Killian, but I'm not going to talk about Killian. And Marvin Bagley was fantastic too. I would have closed with Marvin Bagley, and that's what we're going to talk about later in the podcast. However, Isaiah Livers, man, I've been telling you guys in the podcast for a minute now. I've been trying to tell you guys, and I had a few of you guys tweet at me. A few of you guys were reaching out to me like, okay, we're seeing what you're talking about. This is legit. This dude, Isaiah Livers, he shot 6 of 7 from the field, 4 or 5 from deep. He had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. He was a team high plus 15 in the game. When I tell you guys he got all 16 of those points by simply just playing smart, by simply just playing within the offense, knowing where to be, knowing how to space the floor, making just the right reads and playing basketball the right way. And that's something this team, we talked about in the podcast multiple times last week. That's something this team is lacking from top to bottom. Guys that just are going to play the game the right way, play basketball the most beautiful way possible, and that's keeping the ball moving and swinging it side to side. Isaiah Livers literally did not get these 16 points off of ISOs, off of trying to take guys to the basket and try and do some highlight plays. No, these were all just catch and shoots. If guy's not closing out on me quick enough, I'm hitting it. I'm coming off the screen, I'll hit it. I'm relocating to the corner. I'm relocating to the wing. I'm hitting it. And then not to mention, there was a point in the third quarter when the Pistons were going, I believe, 3.5 minutes without scoring. They brought Isaiah Livers into the game. They had not scored a field goal yet. They scored 3 threes back to back to back. All 3 of them were created by Isaiah Livers. Literally, not him from driving and kicking, not from him making something crazy pass behind the look, no look, nothing like that. Nothing crazy. Literally just 3 straight wide open threes were created for the Detroit Pistons, which they hit. simply from Isaiah Livers making quick, decisive extra passes when he knew the defender was going to close on him. Literally, it's just as simple as that. Basketball is not a complicated game, guys. I've played basketball my whole life. Basketball is not a complicated game. Obviously, the better you are at it, the easier it is. But it's not a complicated game. This is not chess out here. It's very easy. Move the ball, hit the open guy when he's open, and keep the ball moving. If you're open, shoot the shot. Make the shot if you can. If you're not open, keep the ball moving. Isaiah Livers literally plays like the most perfect brand of basketball. I'm convinced he would be perfect on the Golden State Warriors. Like, if the Golden State Warriors had drafted him somehow before the Pistons, I feel like he'd be just like considered like all rookie second team. They'd be looking at, oh God, you guys see how they talk about JTA and Gary Payton over there, and who's the other Moses Moody, those guys, how they talk about them over there. I'm convinced they'd be even higher on Isaiah Livers because he would fit perfectly in a ball movement, free flowing offense that makes the right play all the time. He just makes the perfect play almost every single time. I don't know if he ever makes mistakes on the floor. Like, no noticeable mistakes. Did he even have a turnover tonight? No, he didn't have a turnover. When's the last time he had a turnover? Like, he makes the right play over and over and over. He knows where to be over and over and over. He plays good defense. He makes the right switches. He's talking more than anyone else on the team, and he's a rookie on defense. There's nothing not to like about this dude. And again, this just shows you that you don't have to be an ISO scorer. You don't have to be dribbling the ball all the time to be able to score. Isaiah Livers just dropped 16 points, has been contributing massively to the Pistons, has been scoring the ball, been a big impact player for them by literally just playing basketball the way you should play basketball. And that's why I love him so much. That's why I love watching him. He's becoming one of my favorite players. That's another reason why I love Killian Hayes so much. Why I like Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham's obviously going to be a superstar, but that's another reason why I love Killian Hayes. They just play the right way of basketball. They're going to hit the open guy. They're going to keep the ball moving. But Isaiah Livers, he's amazing, dude. He's amazing. He's a key piece. He is a key piece. And it may not be a key piece as a starter. It may not be a key piece as an all-star. It may not be a key piece as some centerpiece or something. But he's a key piece that you do not want to lose because he plays the basketball game the right way. He'll set the tone the correct way for your team. He'll lead by example. He'll be the one talking on defense, get everyone else start talking. When you're talking on defense, when you get someone that's as vocal as Isaiah Livers is on defense, it becomes contagious. Now everyone else feels more confident to start talking. Same thing on offense. He is a key piece that I don't think the Pistons are going to want to lose. And he should absolutely be a firm piece in the rotation for the rest of the year and moving forward after this year. He played 31 minutes tonight. He probably should have played more, to be honest. Isaiah Livers is a hell of a pick. You already see it. This is not just a small sample size. The way he plays is not just a small sample size. Everyone you talk to people from watch Michigan, they said this was him all 4 years. This is who he's been. This is who he's been coached to be. We're not just talking about him because he's shooting 50, 60% from deep. Now, he is shooting incredibly from deep, and that's helping. We're talking about him because he's making the right basketball play over and over, and also he can shoot. He's going to be a key piece. He should continue to play heavy minutes. The Pistons are better with him on the floor. He plays the right way. Fantastic find by Troy Weaver getting Isaiah Livers. Absolutely love Isaiah Livers. Absolutely love him. Absolutely love him. When we come back, we'll talk about some other guys, Killian Hayes and Marvin Bagley, who contributed to this close loss to Miami Heat and how they played so well. And then also later on in the podcast, Saddiq Bey, 5th straight game, struggling pretty badly. Should the Pistons be concerned at all? And also some other decisions that I probably would have made differently down the stretch for the Pistons. We'll talk about all that later on in the podcast. But first, I have to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, PrizePicks. All right, NBA fans, are you looking for a daily fantasy option for the NBA? They need to try their award-winning app, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. I love this, and we know you will too. It's so easy to use. You simply just pick 2 to 5 players and an over or under on the projection. You can win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's just that easy. PrizePicks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Use their award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. PrizePicks offers any prop you can think of, from point scores to rebounds to even steals. And get this, PrizePicks allows mixed sports entries. If you go all the way back to the Super Bowl, that weekend, I went ahead and I placed myself a little slip. I went with Matthew Stafford's over on his passing yards, over on his touchdowns, but I also went with the over on Cade Cunningham's points, and that was the last one I hit. Don't make fun of me. I'm not the greatest at this, but I'm gonna keep trying. Either way, my point is, you can bet on a football player and a basketball player or baseball, anything, and mixed sports entries. It's that kind of fun. And PrizePicks doesn't just offer NBA. They have options on college basketball, college football, NFL, MLB, soccer, MMA, and more. For a limited time, PrizePicks has an exclusive no-brainer of an offer for all of our users. Users get $50 for free if a player in your first PrizePicks entry scores a single point, but you must use code NBA. That's right, this is an exclusive offer available for Locked On fans. Sign up today and use code NBA, $50 for free if a player in your first PrizePicks entry scores a singular point. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. 50% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, man. I'd really appreciate it, man. What you guys waiting for? Those of you guys who are listening on the podcast, for you guys are trying to figure out a way to support the podcast the best way you guys can, easy. Head to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. The best way to support the podcast on our road to 2,000 subscribers and continuing to show Locked On that we're the fastest and best growing fan base at the Locked On Network. But anyways, we just got done talking about Isaiah Lewis. I literally could talk about Isaiah Lewis for 30 minutes. I just love a guy who just plays the game the right way. I seriously could just talk about it for 30 minutes. But Killian Hayes and Marvin Bagley also play extremely well in this game and contributed to the Pistons being so close in this game. And I'll tell you this much right now. If Killian Hayes wasn't in foul trouble, they have 5 fouls, I think they might win this game because he's not coming out as early as he had to do. He had to come out at the beginning of the fourth. He wasn't able to come back in until about 4.5 minutes left. And the Pistons were already down by a little bit then. Also, same thing with Isaiah Livers. Honestly, I probably would have rode Isaiah Livers a little bit longer. I know he was already at 31 minutes at the end of the game, so they wanted to try, give him a fresh air. Try to get him a break. I don't know why I stumbled over my words right there, but I probably would have rode him a little bit longer. Either way, those 3 guys played really well. Killian Hayes, he was extremely aggressive tonight out the gates, getting to the rim. He had his very first shot was an ISO on Tyler Hero along the baseline step back midi. I love seeing that kind of confidence for him to take that. He hit it. And then he had another drive down the lane. Right after that, he tried to finish over Dwayne Dedman. He brought the big man with him. And this is the kind of play that I'm so happy that I saw him take the layup instead of trying to go for the lob. The lob was open, but he went for the finish. And when you get the defender, the big guy to come to you on a drive to the rim, you try finishing over him, he completely comes after you. Even if you miss, if you have an athletic guy like Marvin Bagley, he's going to slam it back home. And that's exactly what happened there. So I really love the fact that we saw a shift in Killian Hayes' mindset tonight or last night against the Miami Heat. He was being more aggressive. He was looking for his own shot. And that led to a really good game for me. He had 9 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. He had a few bunnies in the first half that I thought he should have hit. He missed 2 floaters. He had another one I thought he was really fouled, but I don't know how to get the call there. But he really had 2 floaters I think he probably would have liked back. So he easily could have ended this game at 13. But overall, there's the aggressiveness that you saw from him, the ability to run the offense, how much the offense has simply looked better with him on the floor. You're seeing minor steps from Killian Hayes the last few weeks. Ever since coming off the bench, you're seeing progression from him over and over and over. And really, you guys know I really like Killian. I'm really high on him. But the continued steps we're seeing in his mindset of trying to be aggressive, I think is really going to pave the way. I think next season, we've said this multiple times on the podcast, next season is going to be so big for him. Because if he can keep this aggressive mindset, continue to get more aggressive, and just work on he literally should only be working on jump shooting and finishing around the rim. That's all he should be working on this all offseason. If he can come next year as a better guy at finishing around the rim and shooting, you have a legit player. But everything else, you're seeing the defense, how well he was running the offense. Him and Marvin Bagley, and we'll talk about Marvin Bagley next. Those 2 guys have incredible chemistry already. I can't name how many times Killian Hayes found him on a lob, on a dump off, on a pass rolling to the rim. Marvin Bagley and Killian Hayes love playing together, and I've been trying to tell you guys for a year now. I've been trying to tell you guys for a while that Killian Hayes desperately needed a lob threat, and so did Cade. Once Cade got here, Cade also needed a lob threat. This team needs that, and Marvin Bagley is providing that, and that's why he's being so effective. He's not being asked to do ISO stuff. He's being asked to just simply, hey, use your explosiveness around the rim. You're in tremendous finishing ability around the rim. Just use that. We'll dump it off to you. We'll find you open lobs. We'll hit you on the rolls to the rim. We'll try to get you try to get good looks at the rim from my other guards. And if they miss, you have putbacks. Like, he's just being asked to do the simple stuff, and he's playing extremely well doing it. Marvin Bagley ended the game with 13 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, and 2 blocks. He was a +1 on the night. But like I said, at some point in the third quarter, when that trio came into the game, they completely shifted the game. The Pistons went on a 19-0 run when those 3 guys came into the game. And it was, don't let anyone else fool you. It was literally only because of those 3 guys. Those 3 guys completely changed the game. And again, I'm going to be honest. I probably would have rode Isaiah Livers and Marvin Bagley even longer than Dwayne Casey did. Now, it's a tightrope to walk. I know I've told you guys many times before on the podcast that the one thing from Stan Van Gundy's era, one of the things he said that I always carry with me, I always try to learn from, is that after one of the games, that it was some random game the Pistons had when he was a coach, and he talked about how the bench played extremely well, and he ended up closing with the bench, and they ended up crumbling down like the last minute or so. And one of the things he said after the game, I never remember the exact quote, but basically what he was saying was, yeah, the bench was playing really well. I wanted to ride their hot hand, reward them for it. But me as a coach, I have to know that there's only a certain amount you can get out of these guys before you've now asked for too much and they're going to start hitting the wall. You got to know when it's time. Okay, you've got everything you can out of them. Now you got to get them out of there before they start hurting themselves and the team. And that's a tight line to walk. You never know. Sometimes if you play them a little bit longer, they may hit that wall, and now you've done push for too much. I feel like Dwayne Casey's done that too much with Rodney McGruder and Corey Joseph this season. But anyways, with Marvin Bagley, Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, I get that. I get that they're already playing heavy minutes, especially Killian Hayes, who's coming back from an injury. You probably didn't want to, max them out too much tonight. But I feel like, me personally, this is one of those times where I would have rode Marvin Bagley a little bit longer. But yeah, again with Bagley, he was just feasting on lob threats, feasting on putbacks. He had a few good post-ups as well, just simply the small stuff. And you really like to see that from him. I'm really happy with what we've seen from Marvin Bagley. I think he has to be absolutely 100%. He's shown everything you want to see from him, that he's going to get re-signed by the Pistons, get paid. I think he's a key part of the future as well. I think he's showing that right now. He has to get better defensively, though. He has to. He doesn't have to become a great defender, but he has to at least get smarter. Like, at least pay attention to detail more. One thing you can't say about Marvin Bagley is that he doesn't try hard. I'll never come on this podcast. You'll never see me come on the podcast and tell me that he lacks effort. That dude has an engine of 100%, and he never runs out. His tank is never on E. It's times when you can tell when he gets tired. You can tell when he's like he's trying to go as far as possible. But even when he's tired, you can see him absolutely giving it everything he can. So I'll never say he's not trying hard. But defensively, it's just a lot to be desired. He's not very good defensively, and sometimes he lacks attention to detail. But everything else, I'm really happy with what we're seeing from Marvin Bagley. And those three guys, again, did a tremendous job in keeping the Pistons in this game and really keeping them ahead for the majority of this night. Those two guys, for real, deserve the game ball. And I really wish this coaching staff, I'm sure they probably have done this, to be honest. But if I was this coaching staff, I literally would take game film of just these three guys. And honestly, I'd take game film of just Isaiah Livers, just himself, and show it for the team and be like, this is how you play basketball. This is how we want to play basketball here. This is how you play the game of basketball. Because there was one play at the end of the third quarter, and then we'll end the segment and we'll move on to what I want to talk about next. But there was one play in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth. Jeremy got the ball on a swing pass, I believe, from Killian Hayes on the right wing. As soon as Jeremy caught it, Isaiah Livers' guy is still in the paint and is late to making his rotation to back out to deliver. He's late on the swing pass because Killian swung it so fast. That's the thing with these guys. When you bring in the bench, they're really good at moving the ball. So Killian quickly moves the ball over to Jeremy. Jeremy, if he simply makes the pass to a wide open Isaiah Livers, who's 4 or 5 from deep and is feeling it at this point, I believe he had just hit a fadeaway midi at that point. If he simply makes that extra pass, you're likely got another 3 points on the board, and the Pistons maybe could have won this game. I'm not saying that play right there lost them the game, but it definitely could have helped. That could have helped right there. Instead, Jeremy holds on to the ball, takes one dribble pull up in PJ Tucker's face, and air balls a long three. Air balls it. Hits all backward. Looks like Russell Westbrook. Okay? That's just one of those plays that just drives me crazy. Yes, I know it's just one play, and people will come on and be like, oh, cool, Jeremy Grant's been playing well since the All-Star break, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it. I know. But it's just plays like that if I was a coach would absolutely drive me crazy, because it's not me asking you to make some insane play. I'm not asking you to make an ISO play. I'm not asking you to go try scoring a good defender. I'm asking you simply to make the right basketball play, a simple pass that changes the outcome of games. Those kind of plays changes games. And that's just something it literally, when I saw it, I literally want to turn the game off. That's how mad it made me. Because it's such a simple read to make. It's such a simple pass. It's the right way to play. That play just really irked me. There was no way I was going to record this podcast and not talk about that play. It just really, really irked me. Really irked me. You cannot miss that play and not make that read. Guys got to want to pass the ball. Guys got to want to see other guys succeed and just see the team succeed. It doesn't have to be yourself scoring all the time. You got to trust your teammates and make the right basketball play and keep the ball moving. Got to keep the ball moving. The number one thing the Pistons need to learn this offseason and get guys that want to make the right basketball play and see each other succeed. When we come back, We'll talk about some decisions maybe I would have done differently at the end of this game. And also Sadiq Bey, 5th straight game now of seriously struggling. Is it something to look forward in or look more into? We'll talk about that when we come back from the break. But first, let me tell you guys about your guys' favorite sponsor, Built Bar. This is the time of year that I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm sticking to my resolution to eat right, and it's thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not even really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you guys tried the Puffs Built Bar? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, they're not just a protein bar, they're an absolute treat. And they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Get this, all Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, not just the Puffs. All Built Bars, 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high proteins. Replace your candy bars with these. They taste better and they're better for you. Candy bars can range anywhere between 200 to 300 calories. Go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be absolutely blown away. High protein, low calories. High fiber, low carbs. I combine fiber and carbs, but high fiber, low carbs. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. And they have all kinds of flavors too. Mint brownie, coconut almond. New flavor this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. You guys know my favorite, peanut butter. They got cherry barcia, strawberry, raspberry, all kinds of flavors. Make sure you go check them out. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every single time. Make sure you're going to built.com and checking it out all the time because they do come out with limited time flavors all the time. So make sure you're staying up to that. So again, go to built.com, but this time use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar ever. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. And if you have not already, if you're one of the 50% of people watching on YouTube who have not hit the subscribe button yet, go ahead and hit it. What are you waiting for? It's the best way to support the podcast. We're closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Let's continue to show Locked On with the fastest and best growing fan base at the Locked On Network. So again, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. But let's talk about some decisions that maybe I questioned a little bit in this game. Isaiah Stewart closed the game for the Detroit Pistons. Now, I understand. Marvin Bagley, we just said it. He needs to improve defensively. He's not good. He's not good defensively. And that's putting it lightly. He's just not – he's not it. He's not the move defensively. I get it. And Isaiah Stewart was impacting the game defensively somewhat. He had 2 blocks this game. He did have a few key blocks and also a few key contests on Bam Adebayo at the rim and also Jimmy Butler around the rim when he was playing in the first half. So I get it. Isaiah Stewart, obviously, we all understand. Yeah, he's better at defense. Yes, we get it. And we've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you have to sacrifice defense for offense. That's just the way it goes. Just like you are sacrificing offense for defense, sometimes you have to sacrifice defense for offense. And I feel like this was the stretch that you need to do that. The Pistons had gone a long stretch in that fourth quarter without scoring the basketball. They were not scoring the ball very well in that fourth quarter. And they tried running a lineup of Isaiah Stewart and Marvin Bagley. That lineup's just not going to work. It's just not going to happen. I told you guys that when it first was brought up when they traded for Marvin Bagley that they just don't have enough spacing in that lineup. Stu is not a good shooter. He's not a good offensive player right now. I don't believe in him at the 4. I don't think he can guard 4s legitimately either. And Marvin Bagley also can't shoot from beyond the arc either. So it's just bad spacing. And if you have 2 of those guys out there, it's likely that you also probably only have 2 guys on the floor shooting that are able to space the floor. So your space is just going to be awful. So it really that lineup right there just didn't work, and they were really struggling to get anything going with Isaiah Stewart on the floor. So let's give you guys the exact of how it worked. Isaiah Stewart came in with 7:45 left in the fourth quarter. The Pistons scored, what is this? They did not score again to the 6-minute mark with the Jeremy Grant pull-up jumper as time was expiring. They scored again a minute and a half later on a Corey Joseph step-back 3 as time was expiring. And that was it. So they went 3 minutes with 2 shot clock heaves that went through, and that was it. They had a few forced turnovers. They had a offensive foul. They had another turnover, a couple bad shots. Just wasn't able to get anything going with those 2 on the floor. That's the something that I don't think the Pistons would ever try again. It's like that's not one of those things you need to see what happens. You can just basically use common sense. Those 2 guys can't shoot. Isaiah Stewart's not very good offensively. You're not going to be able to space the floor correctly. It's just not going to work. So when the Pistons brought Marvin Bagley out the game, they did upgrade the spacing a little bit more. Killian Hayes hit a floater. Saddiq Bey hit a three. Isaiah Livers hit a three. So they had better spacing there. However, I just feel like that the Pistons needed more offense at this point. They need to be able to keep up with the Heat, because the Heat were already scoring with Isaiah Stewart on the floor. They were just scoring. His defense wasn't stopping them from scoring. And we had already seen in this game on multiple situations how much having that lob threat and that person rolling to the rim really was impacting the Heat defense. Literally, Killian Hayes and Marvin Bagley were carving them up, and Killian was making the right read every time. Either he was taking a layup, taking a floater, hitting the lob, making the dump off, or making that cross-court skip pass over and over and over. It was they were carving them up with it. I would have kept Marvin Bagley on the floor because, again, the Pistons weren't getting stops anyways. They just weren't scoring back at the Heat. I would have put Marvin Bagley out there at the 5, put shooters around him, ran pick and rolls with Killian Hayes, and let Killian Hayes create threes for everybody, because it really was working throughout the night. Again, I know it's a tough decision. I'm not saying that this was like some insane decision. Oh, I'm trying to kill Casey for it. I'm just saying that's something I would have done differently. I know Marvin Bagley struggles defensively, and that's why he doesn't close. But I feel like there's situations, just like when you choose defense over offense, there's situations you should be choosing offense over defense. I feel like tonight was one of those games where you should have chose offense over defense. The Pistons only scored 98 points in this game. Marvin Bagley was playing really well in this game. Him and Killian had a lot of things going, along with Isaiah Livers, obviously. I just feel like this was one of those games that you close with Marvin Bagley over Stu. Stu was 0 for 5 from the floor. There was a few times Killian Hayes hit Stu on a dump off on a roll to the rim, and Stu just dropped it, turned the ball over. He had 2 turnovers. I believe both of them were from those dropping the ball on the roll. He had one when he got the ball on a roll. He had, I think it was Gabe Vincent on him in the post. He went to turn, give it a left hook shot, missed everything. So I get Stu brings it better defensively, but I just feel like this game you need Marvin Bagley's roll threat and offense down low. Pistons would have had a better chance, in my opinion. That's just something I would have done differently. And to end the podcast, Saddiq Bey, 5 straight games now struggling. He is now 1 of 9 from deep tonight, or last night against the Miami Heat. He shot 4 of 12 from the floor. He was a minus 13 on the floor. Did not play very well at all. This is not 5 straight games of it happening. I'm not trying to freak out. I'm not trying to call, time to call 911 or something on Saddiq Bey, where, what did Stephen A say? Put the MPB out. What is it? The radar out for him, whatever the hell you call it. I forget what it is. It's not a missing persons alert or anything. However, he is struggling over the last 5 games. He has not played well the last 5 games. Something to continue to watch. I know people hate it anytime I say anything remotely negative about Saddiq Bey. I'm gonna have to get a graphic and put it at the bottom of the screen that says Saddiq Bey is a great person. He's a great teammate. He's going to be a good player. He's a fine player. Not all these great positive things about him, just so I can say one tiny thing negative about him. He is struggling. It's a fact. The last 5 games, he has not played well. Something to watch moving forward. Is he showing that he's a little bit of a streaky player? Maybe so. We're just something to watch forward. Hopefully he snaps out of it, but the last 5 games have not been good. He got a lot of good looks tonight too from beyond the arc. Killian did a good job of finding him a few good looks. Isaiah Livers made a couple great swing passes to him, finding him for some good open threes. He just missed. He missed 2 of them down the stretch too. That really the Pistons really needed. That were open shots. But not panic, clicking no panic button. Saddiq's fine. Saddiq's a good player. We all love Saddiq. Blah blah. Like all those good things. But the last 5 games he's been struggling. It's fine to point that out. It's okay to criticize a player when he's playing bad. Okay, I'm not trying to write Saddiq off or anything. I'm just simply pointing it out. Everybody take a chill pill. But we'll close the podcast off there. Really a fun game against the Miami Heat, man. I didn't think it was going to be that fun of a game, to be honest, without Cade Cunningham out there. But that trio of Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, and Marvin Bagley really made the game fun and did their best to try to win this game for the Pistons. I love that, and you're seeing some growth from those 3 guys, definitely. Those 3 guys are giving you reasons to believe in things outside of Cade Cunningham. Also Saddiq Bey, but, outside the main guys, those 3 guys are giving you reason to believe in them. And that's fun to see, especially against a team like the Miami Heat. That's a really good defensive team, the best team in the East. This isn't some bums they did this against. Really good to see. But thank you guys for listening to this podcast, man. Thank you for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Make sure you guys go make Locked On NBA your second listen of every single day. Locked On NBA experts covering all the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe at the Locked On Pistons YouTube channel. 50% of you guys are not subscribed that watch these videos. Hit that subscribe button if you're one of those guys. I'd really appreciate it. Or guys or girls that listen. I'd really appreciate it. And until the next podcast, I'll see you guys later. Peace out, everybody. Fun game about the Pistons. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay safe, everybody. I'll see you guys later.